that people ask, why are monks celibate and why are nuns celibate anyway? Why do we actually reject sensuality? And are we somehow weird, depraved? I sometimes have good fun as a monk. It was over a year ago that I was invited to the Gay Pride breakfast, which was at Curtin University, about a year and a half ago, I think. And when I asked to give a little talk, I just went up there and say, I am more deviant than all of you gay, lesbians and transgenders, because I'm celibate. So I've got I'm the most deviant in the whole room. I'm just making a little joke about that. And obviously I respect people of all genders and all sexual preferences. But the point was that my preference, being celibate, was even more threatening to many people. Because what are monks and nuns doing? Giving up? So are we afraid of sex? Is it the case we were hurt when we were young? Many people think that way. Actually, I mentioned this story a few weeks ago, but this was actually, there was a monk called Ajahn Juan. He was one of the old Thai monks who lived in this beautiful monastery, Phutok. It's like a top-hat mountain. And some of the Thai people know him. He was a very famous monk at the time. I went to visit him, and this lady came from Bangkok and asked this monk, did you become a monk because you had a failed love affair? And he said, no, of course not. He said, she said, that makes sense. You're ordained to forget, and you have forgotten by now. It's logically consistent what she said, but that's not why she ordained as a monk. And I never ordained as a monk because I got jilted in my love affairs. The reason I became a monk is because I know I had sex, I knew what sex was like, but when I meditated once, I got this incredible experience which was better than sexual orgasm, and that was just really shocked me. What's going on there? And so I decided to become a monk just for a couple of years to find out, what meditation was really like. And being a monk, you have these rules of no sex. I didn't really understand what that was for at first. That's just what a monk does. But after a while, when you understand the nature of the mind, you understand that sensuality actually does draw you out into the world. And the meditation is actually going deeper inside. So actually, the more you limit your sensuality, actually the easier it is to meditate. You don't get drawn out so much. So that when I became a monk for a couple of years, sure, it was hard to restrain the mind looking out for the beautiful girls and the nice food and the TVs and the movies and all these other sensual things that were missing in the world. But I also had some interesting experiences. I mentioned actually going to visit my mother and seeing the TV after 7 years. But I also remember just the first time that after 7 years I've flown in aircraft. Now, from Bangkok to London, I got a cheap fare on Philippine Airlines, an economy class. And this was 25 years ago. I couldn't believe just how sensuous and luxurious economy class on Philippine Airlines was. It was my senses were just, amazed, because I'd been in a forest monastery which was very, very austere. Well, I realised from that sensuality is very relative. To other people, cramped in the economy class of an aircraft 25 years ago, that was just so tough and just such an ordeal. But for me, who'd never sat on a chair for 7 years, being served like food which was hot and which was Western, which I could eat, I even got ice cream. I remember that ice cream. In a tub instead of on my bowl, just melting into my rice and curry. And even the music, the music on the plane, I never heard music for 7 years. That was amazing. That was just so sensual. I couldn't get that out of my head afterwards. So you see, that's obviously a joke for you, because you go on an aircraft and the music on there just, it's yucky, and the food, aircraft food, people sort of think is disgusting. And economy class is sort of so cramped up. But for me, because I've been living a far more austere existence in these forest monasteries, I was amazed, in the aircraft there wasn't even any mosquitoes. The first time in 7 years I was free from mosquitoes for more than an hour or two. that was, to me, was luxurious and sensual. So you can see sensuality is also relative. And the sensuality which you're experiencing now, so 10 years ago, that would blow people's minds. The houses you live in, the cars you drive, what you see on the TV, this is nature. So the point is, sensuality is going to get more intense in another 10 years' time. And we can't really stop it. We can't sort of have some great censor somewhere saying, no, we're going to go back to Dixon of Dock Green, we're not going to have any violence. We're going to have the presenter of the 6 o'clock news wearing a burqa. I don't know who that is anyway, some floozy on the Channel 9 or Channel 7, but you can't do that. The point is that we live in a sensory world. If you want to get out of the sensory world, come into a retreat centre or monastery for a few weeks to get